Hello everyone, welcome to soundproofguide.com. In this video, I'll be talking about how to soundproof a hallway. Now, there are, of course, a lot of factors when thinking about soundproofing a hallway. So there's the floors, there's the ceiling, there's the walls, there's the doors, and some hallways, it's pretty rare, but some has also windows. So in this video, I won't be talking about like 10 different ways to soundproof the door or a bunch of ways to soundproof the walls or floor or ceilings. I'll just be telling you the ways that what I would basically do if I were to soundproof a hallway. And I'll also have links in the description below of every product that I talk about in this video. I'll have links to Amazon and also Home Depot, so you have a little bit more buying options. So the very first thing usually a hallway has is it has an echo. So you're walking in the hallway and your feet are usually tapping on the floor. Most of the time it's hardwood floors. You can have, if it's carpet, then it's perfect, because if it's carpet, you're getting rid of a lot of the echo. So you're not going to get that reverberation sound every time you walk. So the first thing that you'd want to do is have a carpet on the floor if you have hardwood. The best thing to basically get is just a long runner carpet, and those can be quite inexpensive, and you don't have to go and buy a really thick plush one, because at least if you have even a thin one that's carpeted, it will deaden a lot of the sound that your footsteps will make. So that's the first thing that you should do. And a lot of hallways, they don't have a lot of stuff on the wall, mostly because there's usually doors. So the doors kind of acts like a filler on the walls. So that's why a lot of people just don't have many things on the walls, like pictures or portraits. So think about adding some stuff on the walls where, of course, there's no doors. So add like a painting, more so like a canvas painting, because then the canvas paintings will absorb a little bit more of the sound. Now, if you have a longer hallway, what I would recommend is even acoustic panels. You don't have to get acoustic panels like I have right here. Of course, these are more for studio recording or for a media room. I find they look good, but in a hallway it might look a little bit odd. But there are some acoustic panels out there that are made for wall decorations. And by looking at the pictures that I'm showing you on your screen, they are quite nice. And you can get them at different sizes also. And basically, it will do a good job at deadening a lot of the echo that's in the hallway, like doors closing, people talking, people walking around. So by adding a carpet, a runner in the hallway, and some acoustics on the wall, right there, you're well on your way to making the hallway a lot quieter. So just a quick pause. If you enjoy this type of content, subscribe, like, and leave a comment. If you do all those three, I pick a winner and I basically send that person stuff like this: acoustical panels, acoustical foam, door sweep, acoustical caulking. Basically, I'll just send you an email and see what you want, because let's face it, I do have quite a lot of soundproofing material. Some stuff that companies send me that is complete crap that I don't even talk about, and don't worry, I won't send you that. But a lot of the stuff, I just have a lot of soundproofing material that, if I can get rid of it by giving it to you and you helping me with the YouTube algorithm, then it's a win-win. Thank you. So now that you've gotten rid of a lot of the echoes, now let's focus on the doors. So really, the doors, there's a lot of different things you can do to soundproof a door, and click that video and you'll find out there are a lot of different ways to get it done, either DIY or you can hire somebody, but usually soundproof a door is not terribly difficult. You can do it yourself. Just have to buy a couple of things, watch a couple of videos, and it's fairly easy. So if you're gonna be soundproofing multiple doors in the hallway, what I would do is I would switch out the hollow doors with solid doors. Now this is usually a little bit more expensive, but if you're really serious about the sound that's coming from the hallway into the rooms, really adding a solid core door, if it's within your budget, then it would be very advantageous for you to do to mitigate a lot of the noise. The difference between the two types of doors is, of course, a hollow door. It's just, well, it's typically the doors that you find inside a house, and it's just hollow inside. So a lot of the noise will travel through quite easily. A solid door, well, it's solid. Usually it's solid wood, but you can get some that has foam in it. I don't find those works quite as good than the solid wood doors. So just get solid wood doors. You can have some that looks exactly like your other doors in the house. If you want everything to match, you can go on Home Depot or Amazon, or just your local hardware store and shop around. You can find doors that are a lot less expensive than you would think, because a lot of people think that solid doors would be $200, $300, $400, which a lot of them are. But you can find a lot of them that are $99, $89. So shop around, and that will make a big difference. So after you've switched out all the doors, not a necessity, but if it's within your budget, after you switch out all the doors, the second thing you need to do is, of course, get rid of the gap. I've talked about this. Any video that I talk about soundproofing a door, this is the first thing you have to do. Get rid of the gap at the bottom, because you can have a solid door, everything sealed, but if there's an inch gap at the bottom, it really won't matter at all if you have a solid or a hollow door. That gap will let noise through quite easily. So just add an industrial door sweep. So the door sweep that I would use is an industrial door sweep that has the rubber at the bottom, not the plastic. I had one, but I thought I had more than one, but I guess I just had one. And I shipped it away to one of the viewers. So look at the pictures on your screen, and this is the one that I recommend. It has the rubber at the bottom, so it creates a perfect seal, and it basically doesn't drag on the floor quite as bad as the plastic, because the plastic, you can't really put it right on the floor. You have to put it maybe a couple of millimeters up over the floor, so you still have a little bit of a gap. You can also get the brush door sweeps, but the brush door sweeps just don't work as good as the rubber door sweep. And these rubber door sweeps are quite wide. You can cut them to size. They come with pre-drilled holes in them, so you can just screw them on. Anybody can do it quite easily. So that's the easiest way to get rid of that gap. And of course, if you can turn out all the lights and then turn on the light in the room, close the door, you're in the hallway and you can see the light shining from the room into the hallway through the sides and the top, then you have to add a weather strip. Weather strips are quite inexpensive. The ones that I recommend are just basically the thin rubbery weather strip. They're all self-adhesive. So just make sure to properly wash around where you're going to place the weather strip. You place it on the casing where the door meets the casing. That's where you want to place the weather strip. So by doing those three things, that's basically where I would stop with the door. If you have 2, 3 doors, 4 doors in the hallway, then you're good to go with the doors. Just that's all you need to do, because otherwise you'll be spending a lot more money and you'll be doing things that will just look ugly, like placing an acoustic blanket over the door. You can do all those types of things, but if you are going to go that route, then I would do it from the inside of the room and not the outside, because if you want the hallway to look kind of nice, you don't want acoustic blankets on the door. So now that the door is done, let's move to the walls. Now the walls, there's not much that I would do here. I wouldn't bother adding some insulation. It's just too much. It's just too much, because you're going to be ripping out all the insulation. But if it's something that you want to do, then I would recommend this video, how to soundproof a wall. Watch that, and then it'll give you a lot more options on how to do it. Some is DIY, some is not so much, because if you're not used to taking a knife and a little sledgehammer and ripping out the drywall, and then watch the video, you'll see what I mean. All I would do basically to soundproof the walls would be to take the electrical outlet face covers off and put some acoustic sealant around the electrical box, because a lot of people don't realize that that hole in the wall usually leads to the room right behind that wall with another electrical box. So that hole, it will basically easily let noise travel from the hallway to the room and vice versa. Usually, if you're in the construction phase, of course, I would add a putty pad to completely envelop the electrical box and to completely fill all those holes. But if the wall is already finished, of course, you can't really do that. Unless on the other side of the wall, you're talking about a wall that's unfinished, a room that's unfinished, I mean, with an unfinished wall, then you can go behind the electrical box and add a putty pad around. These are good for fire safety. So a lot of people wonder, well, if I add a putty pad, is it going to be hazardous? So will it cause fires? Well, no, this is what it's for. If there is an electrical fire in your electrical box, this putty pad will contain the fire for as long as it can. That's basically what these putty pads are for. They're for fire safety, but they do quite a great job at reducing a lot of the noise. So, but if you have two finished walls, then just add some acoustical caulking around the crack of the electrical box. But if the crack is too big, then you can add either some backer rod, or you could also add some gap filler, just the spray foam gap filler. That also works quite well. I always say that foam doesn't really work that great for soundproofing, but if you can fill in that gap using foam, then it's gonna do a pretty good job. And then you just put the face cover back on and you won't even notice that you've done anything. Now that you've done the walls, you've done the doors, you've done the floor, there's not that much else you can do to a hallway to really soundproof it. If you want to soundproof the floor a little bit more, you can check out that video. It talks about how to soundproof the floor. If you have ceilings, usually ceilings, you can add stuff on the ceilings. Like, they have different types of acoustic panels, but they're not panels, they're called clouds, but they're not really meant for a hallway. So I wouldn't really bother with soundproofing the ceiling of the hallway because there's not much that you can do to work at it. You do all those things, if you can get rid of the echo, then that's a big plus, and that's the first thing that you should do. And then you just look at the doors, you look at the walls, you see the little things you can do. And of course, if you have a window, well, then a lot of hallways, most of them don't have windows because the hallway's in the middle of the house. But if you do have a window, one thing that you can do is just use acoustical sealant around the window casing. If the window is an old window, if there's been a lot of movement, there could be a crack around the window casing, which people wouldn't think, but will let a lot of sound in. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do, you can just buy like a window plug. You can buy these types of blankets that you can place on the window, and it will stop a lot of the noise from coming in. It will also make the hallway sound better because you're adding acoustical material on the wall. You're getting rid of a hard surface. But also, you could also add some acoustical curtains, but those don't work as well as an actual acoustical plug. But there's the picture of them, and I'll have a link in the description below. They work quite well. They're quite thick, and they have different linings inside. They have fiberglass, a lot of them. So it helps with reducing a lot of the noise coming from outside. If you live on a busy street, it will stop some of the noise. You can also switch out the windows if it's within your budget. You could switch the windows to double or triple pane windows. Now, the difference between these windows and just regular windows is that in between each window pane, there's an air gap, and there is a gas inside these gaps that will alleviate a lot of the noise coming in. So that's one thing to do, but they cost a little bit more, but they are worth it. Feel free to take a look at many of our other YouTube videos and also some of our articles on our website, soundproofguide.com. Don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed this video, and also consider subscribing to our channel if you like our content. Also, feel free to leave us a comment below if you have any soundproofing questions of your own. We will certainly try our very best to help you. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video or any other videos in our channel. Thank you very much.